welcome, or welcome back if you're new here. Wait, I got that backwards. Welcome back, or hello if you're new here. There we go. My name's Andy. I am a first-time author currently working on revising her debut novel, which is the first installment in a fantasy trilogy entitled House of Aptos. Today, I have such a fun day in store. I'm going to be letting my day be decided by a dopamine menu. I've seen this around a little bit online. I thought it was a really cute idea, and I thought, why not do a writer's edition of a dopamine menu? So if you haven't heard of this yet, basically you break up things into categories: starters, entrees, sides, and desserts, I believe, and you split them up by time. So entrees would be things that take you an hour or more. Things that are starters would be 5 to 10 minute activities that are short and fun, but give you a dopamine hit, kind of get the ball rolling on your day. Sides are like 15 to 30 minute activities, and desserts, I believe, can be any time length, but they're basically things you don't normally indulge in, things that aren't maybe the most productive, but you get a lot of joy from. So I made a dopamine menu earlier this week in preparation for this video, and I'm so excited to show you guys. How freaking cute is this? I will walk up closer to the camera so you can see it a little bit better. On this menu, I have my appetizers, entrees, sides, and desserts. I did try to draw a little typewriter and also a little inkwell with a feather. I'm not sure how well it went, but let's take a closer look at the appetizers. We've got a 10-minute reread of my book, 15-minute writing sprints, or an updating a friend on my work in progress. For entrees, I've got write at a coffee shop for a while. I put for a while because sometimes that can be an hour-long thing for me. Other times it can be 2 hours, and I didn't want to limit myself. 30 minutes or 3 30-minute sprints, or rereading part 1 of draft 3. If you saw my last video, I'm currently in the process of rereading part 1. I'm still editing part 2 and part 3 to be equipped for draft 3, but I downloaded the PDF version of part 1 to my Kindle, so I've been reading it every night, and I kind of need to just sit down and do a big chunk of it to keep moving through. It's been really helpful so far, and honestly, there were some parts that I was like, yeah, this is at a draft 3 level, and then I read it on a page that's a PDF instead of in my working draft, and realize there's still some edits to be made. So it's been really helpful. I don't know what the magic is behind that process, but that's why that's on my entree list. Also, sorry if this is like shaky as I'm holding this up. This is not a still image. I am holding this up for you, so sorry about that. All right, moving on to our sides. I have go on an idea walk, listen to a writing podcast, or read a chapter of a book. That could be any book not pertaining to my own work. And then for desserts, we have curate my Pinterest board, Dreamcast my work in progress, or curate my work in progress playlist for music. So there we have it, everyone, the dopamine menu. I am so excited to jump into this today, and of course we have to kind of go in meal order. I think I'm going to start by picking an appetizer, and then we'll pick an entree, and then kind of check in and go from there as we're looking at what my day looks like and how I want to go about sides and desserts. But let's start with the appetizers. Like I said, my options are a 10-minute reread, 15-minute writing sprint, or updating a friend on my work in progress. Is it bad if I choose multiple things throughout the course of this video? Like, what if I go appetizer, entree, appetizer? Is that bad? Or is it like one of each? I feel like I make the rules, right? I'm going to start with a 10-minute reread. I think that'll be a great way to kind of get my mind into the work, start my day off right, and then we'll move from there. I know my husband and I are hoping to go to a coffee shop, so I guess I'll kind of get ahead of myself and say that's the entree that I will be choosing. But I kind of thought I could do a 2-in-1 there. I thought I could do 3 30-minute sprints at the coffee shop, right? 2 entrees in one, let's go. And some of those sprints could be editing, some of them could be reading. So maybe I'll get to spin all 3 entrees into one. It's like splitting with the other people at the table. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Order multiple entrees. So anyway, I'm going to start with the 10-minute reread, and then we'll go from there. But let's get into it. Okay, so I just finished my little 10-minute reread. I actually got through the rest of chapter 2, which was great. And now I need to pick something else off the menu. I know I mentioned that we're going to the coffee shop, so we already know the entree. And I do have go on an idea walk under sides. Well, my husband and I have decided we're going to bike to the coffee shop. So, also, sorry if you can hear the washer in the background of this video. But I'm going to get my bike out. I think we're going to do that, and that will be a little bit of my outside time. I'll probably still go on a walk later today, but I'm going to kind of count that. I feel like that might take one of our sides. So, let's go to the coffee shop.
Soon as I swear you've been left behind, all the colors come back so bright. Wish I could keep you in black and white, sort of like a picture in a drawer. I don't wanna look at anymore.
Just got to the coffee shop a little bit ago. I got an iced lavender matcha with oat milk. Absolutely delicious. Noah switched up his normal order and got a honey lavender iced latte that he's loving. So it's good news all around. Now that we're here, Noah also got avocado toast. I got a bagel with peanut butter, but you already knew that, and I've already eaten it. So anyway, okay, now that we're here, I'm going to do 3 30-minute sprints as is on the menu for the entrees. And I'm really excited for it. So here's what I'm thinking. I've been taking notes as I do my reread of part 1 or act 1 or whatever the heck you want to call it. I've been taking notes on this piece of paper just to kind of remember what I want to implement in the working document. So for this first sprint, I'm going to read through chapter 3 and take notes. And then if that goes really well and I feel like I'm in a really good spot, then I might keep moving through with that pattern of reading and taking notes, because I'd really like to get part 1 in a solid draft 3, like I know I don't need to touch it anymore, form within the next week or so, and then do the same thing for Act 2. So I'm kind of breaking it up into the 3 parts as I edit through draft 3. So anyway, but if this is not going well and I feel like I'm getting really distracted or whatever, then I'll probably jump into starting to edit Act 2 up to a draft 3 level. So it could go one of 2 ways, but I know for sure this first sprint I'm going to do a reread and take notes as I go. So without further ado, let's hop into it.
Holding on to someone new, it's the only time I feel like I'm still holding on to you. It's like an instant rewind to New Year's Eve at midnight. Taste your lips like Naparella. Wish I wasn't looking back on you, but I still do, I still do. Deja vu.
Okay, it's about an hour later, I think, maybe an hour and a half, and I did quite a bit of reading in part 1, which is great, and I was taking quite a bit of notes, but then I realized a lot of them were pretty similar, like I'm having too many ing words, or I use the word she nodded a lot, or whatever. So I stopped taking super detailed notes because I figured those are things that on a reread when I'm in the working document, I can easily catch those things, and I kind of made some overall notes. So looking back to our dopamine menu, we have so far completed writing in a coffee shop for a while, 3 30-minute sprints, and a 10-minute reread. So we've done 1 appetizer and 2 entrees, and I am thinking that we're going to go to the sides next, which include go on an idea walk and read a chapter of a book. So I already know what chapter of a book I'd like to read, but I'm going to do that when I get home, and I'll tell you guys more about that later. But instead of an idea walk, I'm thinking that Noah and I will bike down to this park that's down the road and actually play on the playground for a little bit and just do something kind of fun. It's a really beautiful day. It's about 80 degrees outside, so we're going to get a little sunshine, have a little play date at the park, and I'll catch up with you guys after that. Hello again. It's been a little while. We went on a walk and got to kind of have some time outside, which was really great. And now I am to the side portion of today's menu. So we have covered an appetizer. We covered 2 entrees, technically actually almost all 3, because I did all 3 of these in some way or another at the coffee shop. Noah and I just went on a walk. The other 2 things I had for sides were listening to a writing podcast or read a chapter of a book. So I think I'm going to do the read a chapter of a book one right now, and then we'll come back to doing a dessert later today, or maybe even tomorrow. We'll see what the day holds. I know we're planning to have friends over for dinner, so that might get pushed, but I'm going to go ahead and read a chapter of a book that's not one of my own. And today, what I'm going to be reading is actually from AuthorTube's very own Cody the writer. He recently self-published his debut novel, The Ghostwriters Club. So if you haven't already, go ahead and grab a copy of that and get reading. I can't wait to just dive in and see what this book is all about. I've heard so much about this project through his channel, and I can't wait to read it. So this is what I'll be reading today, and then after that, we'll find some time to have dessert. All right, let's get to reading. Hi, it's now Sunday afternoon, it's next day, and I have one category left on this dopamine menu that I have yet to complete, and that is dessert. Yesterday we went through a couple appetizers, basically all 3 entrees and 2 sides, and now I have 3 options for my dessert choice, which I'm excited for. I have set the mood, I've got my candle going, I just made myself a cold brew with a homemade brown sugar cinnamon cold foam. Delicious, guys. It's literally so good. So anyway, that's the vibe. We're excited. And I have 3 options left on my dopamine menu for dessert. We've got one option that includes dreamcasting the House of Aptos project, working on the playlist that I have for House of Aptos, or working on the Pinterest board that I have for House of Aptos. I think of these 3 options, I'm most interested in dreamcasting this project. I have a pretty curated Pinterest board. Of course, I can always be adding more. And honestly, while I do have music that inspires me for this project, I don't have a super strong playlist. Like, I'm afraid that one would take me hours, but dreamcasting seems like it's the perfect amount for a side. I think I can get that done in like 20 minutes or so. So anyway, I'm going to take you guys along with me and let you know who I pick for each character. I think I'm going to at least cast the main crew. There's obviously side characters and everything, but I'm going to cast Emery, Cade, Elias, their dad, the king of the House of Day, and also the general of the House of Day. I think those are the 6 characters I'm going to focus on, and I guess we'll see where that gets us. But let's go ahead and dive in. I'm excited. Okay, you guys, here we have it. I have finally finished. I did have to stop recording because this was just taking me too long and I was having to do too much research and all the things. So I finished filling out my Dreamcast and I actually was able to replace the person I had chosen for Cade. I love William, but I was a little too worried about the age gap between him and the people that are supposed to be playing his siblings. So anyway, I stuck with Emily Bader for Emery because honestly, I think she would slay that part, and I just love her. And then I ended up changing to, I forgot to change his name. But I ended up going with Callum Turner for, sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. Okay, I ended up going with Callum Turner for Cade. Now that I have him put in this spot, I literally can't imagine someone else playing him. I think he might be the perfect casting, specifically blonde Callum. He would need to be blonde for this role. Maybe not quite that blonde, but like not his normal dark brown hair. So anyway, Callum Turner, I think he'd be a really great spot for Cade. For Elias, I went with the one and only Timothée Chalamet. I think he would be incredible in this role. He's got the perfect look of Elias. He actually is like almost exactly what I picture in my head when I'm picturing Elias. So anyway, I'm picturing like the Dune vibe, his like serious acting, deep voice, all that. So Timothée Chalamet for Elias, for sure. This one, my next one for the King of Aptos, a little up in the air. I'm not entirely sold on it. I think I would need to see him in a really serious role or like a dramatic, kind of fantasy-esque role. So anyway, here's the person I've considered for King of Aptos. I think Patrick Dempsey is the right age. I love the salt and pepper look. I think he could be a good fit for this, but I've also only really seen him in a couple rom-coms and Grey's Anatomy, and that's not quite the vibe. The other guy I thought about for this would actually be the actor that played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. That would be a dream casting for me for sure. But I think I like Patrick Dempsey's like look a little better, and I actually feel like Patrick and Timothy look like they could be relatives. So I feel like they almost make sense a little bit. So anyway, right now I have him in this slot, but it could very easily be the guy from Lord of the Rings, who plays Aragorn, at the drop of a hat. I could switch it over. So, okay, now shifting over to the house they are at war with, which is the House of Day. Looking at the King of Day, I went with Idris Elba. I think he's incredible. I love him in Thor Ragnarok. I think he does a great job in I cannot remember the name of that character, but he's Heimdall, I think is how you say it. Anyway, he's everything. Literally, he has to play this role if I ever do this movie, because if this movie were to ever happen, he would just be perfect. He'd be perfect. Next up, the General of Day, also obsessed. I love Damson. He's wonderful, and I think he would be a really good fit for this as well. He would be perfect. He's the right age and gives me all the right vibes. There was a more serious picture of him where he's not smiling, because obviously all the other pictures, most of the actors aren't smiling, but I thought the smiling one was nice, so I went with that one. And then lastly, literally, you guys, I was getting giddy. Lawrence has to be played by Anthony Ramos. He is the perfect person. I couldn't pick it better. This man is meant to play Lawrence, okay? If this movie happens, he's our guy, okay? So, anyway, that's my dream cast. There's other characters, side characters, and things that would need to be included in this, but this is who I have right now, and I'm really happy with it. So, there we go. There's your overview. When you're picturing the characters of this book, these are the people that I'm picturing in my head. So we'll end on our main girl, Emery, because love her. That's it for this video. If you made it this far, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around as I continue revising. I'll be posting more and more about revising draft 3 of this project, and of course, as I move into self-publishing, which I'm hoping is coming soon. So, and if you want to support me in revision, my Ko-fi link is in the description below. I also linked Cody's book down below, so make sure you go grab a copy of the Ghostwriters Club if you don't have it already. I've continued to read since yesterday, and it just keeps getting better. So, thanks for hanging out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!